the election is only a few days away at this point, and I think it's an event that the market is looking forward to getting past. That's for certain. Positioning going into the election, I think based on what you just said, explains it all. We've been talking about having a barbell approach going into the election and even going into the end of the year. I think you need to have exposure to some of the sectors that have been winning and have been doing very well, like the technology sector and the growth-oriented sectors. But also, it's time to think about and consider starting to put some money into the more cyclical sectors that will benefit more from a reopening story and a continuation of a recovery into 2021. So that's kind of where our head is at as we go into the new year. I think investors right now are having a little bit of a struggle, and they're starting to have a bit of tunnel vision as we head into the election, and all they can think about is the uncertainty surrounding the election, what's going to happen, what the results are going to be, and what's going to happen the weeks and days that follow the election. And we urge people to think longer term, because from our perspective, investors should take a longer term perspective. And if you begin to think longer term, things are expected to get better in 2021. And the market is likely to resume its upward trend once we get past this volatile event that is coming next week.
You are the chief investment strategist at a financial firm that caters to a lot of mainstream and Main Street type customers. What's the biggest concern, or what are the biggest questions that you get from your client base about what exactly the market's doing right now and how it will do in the coming months?
Yeah, I think the concern right now is what is going to happen in the months ahead. And we have seen our retail customers take a bit of a pause here in the past couple weeks as we head into the election, because I think they're at this point where they've been able to take part in the bull market that has culminated since the beginning or since the end of March. And so they've taken advantage of that run up in the market, and they're feeling good about it. But the question is what's going to happen now? They're beginning to feel a little nervous because they're starting to see the rubber hit the road with some of these companies. We saw the September drawback in the tech shares. Today, we're seeing tech companies pull back on earnings results, a shift in earnings results. And so I think that our customers are really just taking a pause, digesting the information that they are getting, and waiting to see what happens later in the year, because there is a whole litany of question marks still on the table. And it's really only going to be a matter of weeks to months before we have clarity on some of these issues.
All right. So we just did a look, right, at some of the kind of outperformers and underperformers that could come to fruition in certain scenarios for the election. Does the election play into how you allocate to sectors right now, or are you looking even longer term beyond that? What exactly is your playbook for where investors should be putting money at this stage with the elections and everything else in play?
Yeah, I'm definitely looking longer term because, like I said, the election is in a few days. Even if there is the possibility of the election being contested, and there's a bit of uncertainty and continued volatility through the month of November, we're still optimistic when we think about the end of this year and we're going into 2021. We're entering the seasonally strong period of the year. Investors tend to get more optimistic as you get into the month of December and the start of the new year as they think about what 2021 is going to look like. And when I look at 2021, I see that earnings expectations are expected. We're expected to rise. We're going to see double-digit earnings growth in 2021. We're going to get earnings back to 2019 levels, so completely making up for the decline that the pandemic caused this year. And so when I think about the out year, I want to think about that reopening story, because I do think we'll eventually get stimulus, and a vaccine is in the works. The timing is questionable, but these are all positives. Okay. So that's more positive on the market.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.